atrocities. Let's go back to the Nkrumahs and the rest. They brought us independence. They may have made their mistakes with regard to ideology because of the pressures that they were receiving. We didn't need that. Let's step back and do what we need.
When this struggle is over,
we shall never beat us strong. We shall never beat us strong. We shall never beat us strong.
when the struggle is over, we shall never beat us strong. In the new Uganda, power, our power.
Welcome, everyone. I'm even more encouraged because it's a very young man. I think it's a little bit my brother Bobby, my young brother, I've said a lot of things that will be reported to you. And I hope somebody does. And if they don't do it properly, they will tell you how to get you. I'll work with you, and we'll get Africa to work with you.
People power! People power!
It's a place for these emotional outcomes. We are Africans. We need to have them. But at the end of it, let's take a step back and think. Let's use our heads to see where we make a difference. It's important. Anyway, they'll report to you. So he's coming. Maybe I should take one or two more questions. You should not be standing here with Bobby White is in the room, but I'll take one or two questions. Yeah, yes, sir.
Hi, thank you so much for encouraging us to do more than use emotion to change Africa. But you have to consider the realities. So, considering the structural adjustments that the World Bank promotes haven't worked, and considering that most African leaders, including Museveni, are put in power to give the Western countries advantages, how do you suggest that somebody like the Honorable Bobby Wine starts creating wealth, considering that he doesn't even collect taxes in a country and a situation whereby even trying to find membership or distributing pads to school-age children will bring the police, people are tear gas, people are shot at. So how do we marry the realities of what Africa is and then also be practical in bringing our people up to speed to the 21st century?
Thank you very much. It's a very good question. And I've answered that, but before I do, I want to tell you that Bobby, I'm from Cameroon. So I've lived the same difficulties under a leadership that has been there for the last 4 decades. And the head of the opposition in Cameroon, he just died not too long ago. Mr. Frundi, you might have heard of him, John Frundi. He passed away not too long last month. And we're from the same family. As a matter of fact, when I was born, Frundi was living with my parents. And his slogan was power to the people. To this day, everybody reminds, when they think about the position in Cameroon and they think about what was achieved, the name tell you, meet any Cameroonian and find out, I'll tell you. It's John Fruity. It was a cousin of mine. And I had an occasion to talk to him one-on-one a lot of times. And after 30 years, my sister was reminding me today, during his eulogy, they said he fought for 30 years and left the country worse than when he started, which is true. Cameroon is far worse today than 30 years ago when Fruity moved that country. And of course, if you ask him, he will tell you, and when he was here before he went, a few months before he passed away, I was in Atlanta, and he will tell you, he said, well, they have the power. They have the army, they have the treasury. This way it works. They have the military, they have the treasury, they have the international relations, they can get loans from the IMF and what else. This was funny. And I had nothing. And I asked, I told them, the only reaction I could have was this. I said, but you moved the country. Everywhere you went, thousands came out to see you. What do you think moved them? Was it the money you had? Did you give them money to come out? When the president, Mr. Biya, goes out, they give money to him. Did they give you? Did you give citizens money to come out and see you? I said, it was the power of your ideas. That's what moved them. It was the power of your ideas. Moved them. And what we've been talking about today is the power of ideas. Challenge, let Ugandan citizens know that you have ideas that would be different from anything Museveni has to offer them, different from the money and the military and the coercion and what have you. You have the ideas. That's what we've been talking about health, about wealth creation, about agriculture, about transformation, about technology. It's these things. Put them together. You don't, Bobby Wine doesn't need to go out of his house to be arrested again. Just put those ideas and let Ugandans choose. They will have the choice either to stay in their current state of deprivation and poverty and illness and you name it, or we will do it differently. And this is what we are standing for.
Yes, good morning, sir. My name is Robert Kabuya Boston. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Can't we adapt Obamacare to child care?
Yes, of course we can. That was my last answer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Mr. Chinje. We appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much. And we're going to now jump over. I'm going to invite a very special guest. His name is Bruce Afran, who has worked with us for a while. He's a distinguished civil rights and constitutional lawyer. He graduated from Brooklyn Law School in 1985 and holds a degree in history from State University of New York and Birmingham. He has a career spanning over 3 decades. He has been a leading advocate for civil rights in New Jersey. His legal expertise has been instrumental in cases involving civil rights, domestic surveillance, environmental preservation, corporate fraud, election reform, immigrant rights, and family law. He currently serves as a professor at Rutgers University, teaching First Amendment law and the seminar on corruption law. Bruce frequently consults on matters of international human rights, civil liberty issues, pensions, and securities law, and has argued cases in various states across USA, notably served as the National Elections Counsel to former presidential candidates and consumer advocate Ralph Nader in 2004. Presently, Rose is the legal advisor to the National Unity Platform, the College of America, seeking to challenge Yoweri Museveni, and is going to tell you a lot about the current ICC case we have against Museveni. So welcome, Mr. Rose.
Thank you very much. And if you can't hear me, you'll let me know. I don't usually use microphones. We lawyers don't get them in courtrooms. We just have to raise our voices. I'm very gratified to be here and to have been invited here today. As you know, we've spent pretty much a solid 2 years in which we have been gathering evidence and bringing it forward to the ICC and to the world community. But before we talk about that, let me say how I became involved in this movement as an advisor. My interest in Uganda goes back. I'm one of those 60-year-old people Dr. Chima was talking about. Goes back to when I was in high school. Now, at that time, there was a dictator in office named Idi Amin. And I used to write papers in high school on Idi Amin and his depredations. So I followed Uganda really as a child and later. I have a daughter who runs a summer camp, a Jewish religious camp, and there are 2 young men from Uganda, who are in the Jewish community, who've worked there for many years. So I began speaking to them one visiting day and asked them about the current political situation. And told me the story, well, there's this man who's a singer, and he's going to run for president. And he's going to set aside this present dictator we have. Of course, I knew about Museveni. I didn't know about Bobby. And my first contact was with these 2 young men. And I said, look, when you go back at the end of the summer, let them know I'm here and I'm interested in helping. And through that contact, David Lewis contacted me and several other people, and we began this strategy, the development of this strategy. And when the killings took place in November of that year, before the election, we developed the notion of gathering this evidence and presenting it to the ICC. So we have presented 3 reports thus far, the latest being our formal complaint. Now, let me explain a bit about the ICC. And to some degree, I want to make sure we don't build up hope in the wrong direction, rather than in terms of the right direction. The ICC is a court. Its prosecutors have to make a decision as to what to do. Are you able to hear me? I hear an echo. Can you hear me all right? Okay, good. Thank you. And it's not clear what they do in any given case. Now, we presented 215 affidavits. One of them was Bobby's, actually, detailing torture, human rights abuses, murder, psychological abuses. Now, originally, we didn't have that. Our first 2 reports were from the media. But then we were able to gather over a period of a year, with the help of many people, a collection of dossiers under oath describing in detail what has happened. This changes the picture. We're no longer submitting what's in the media to the court, but we're submitting affidavits under oath stating what happened to individuals. And we know most of those stories. You probably know a lot of them. You probably know people who have been victimized. People are taken off the street. They're dragged into cars. They're often beaten on the floor of the car. For hours, they drive to a detention center. There, they're often forced into psychological torture, dancing for 12 or 15 hours in a row. Sometimes they make them listen to Bobby's music, actually, and they think that's a torture. They don't realize that's actually giving hope to the victim. But they make them dance for 12, 15 hours, and they beat them when they fall. Then they whip them with wires. Sometimes they electrocute them. One man was told, certifies, and was told to urinate into a hole that was wired, and he was then electrocuted. People have had pieces of their body pulled off, pincers taking their flesh off, fingers cut off, testicles damaged, if not pulled off. Vicious torture is practiced by ordinary Ugandans who are following orders. And this is one of the points of the ICC case, that it's not just going to be Museveni and his son. Ultimately, it will be anyone who takes place in these actions.
Yes.
We've listed 26 officials, some of them relatively low-ranking in our complaint. One of them was Speaker Among, who associated herself with a torture center. Another is General Alebu, who we know what he has done. But others are lower-ranking, unknown sometimes. And the point of this process is that we know who is doing these things. And when a soldier or police officer decides to participate, and many don't, many are loyal to the Constitution and the law.